Hey, I'm Scotty, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to sketch this street scene in Italy using one-point perspective. We're especially going to look at getting all the windows and doors right in this scene. Okay, so what is one-point perspective? One-point perspective is where the scene that you're sketching has one vanishing point. So you can see here in this very simple graphic that this scene here has one vanishing point, and that vanishing point right in the middle there is on the horizon line. That means that the front faces of all of those buildings on the side, either side of the street, and the street, they sit on planes which go back and vanish into that one point. So two really important points to look at when we're looking at this graphic. All of the vertical lines, can you see the vertical lines of the building going up and down? They're all perfectly vertical, so we don't need to change those. If you look at the windows, the top edge and the bottom edge, they're angled. And that's what we're going to focus on today, is getting those angles right. Well, the most important feature is that tower, and so we don't want to get that wrong. We don't want it to come up off the page. Is we can imagine this blue line, so don't draw this blue line. It's about in the middle of the page. So we're coming up from the bottom of the page, leaving a little gap there for the road, and then we'll come from the middle. You can see the red dot on that reference is just a little bit to the left. So go a little bit to the left from the middle. Okay, now this section here, we can actually break into three, which will help give us the right proportion. If between these two gaps, put two dots here. So if we get that width there now that we have, and we go up that same height, I'm just doing it by eye, and then about half of that we add on, also half of that bit we go on there. So now we have a 1.5 height from the width. And then with your fingers or with a ruler if you'd like, you can measure that, and you get one there, and then I go again, and another one there. Okay, so now we should have 3 widths height, and it shouldn't be too close to the top. We can do the same on this side, so give it that width. So then at the top here, with that width, let's take that width there and put a point up here. So the next step is to draw lines on the side of the tower. So let's start just a little bit below this dot here, and we're giving it, see that little bit of texture, and we can leave gaps in it if we like as well, down here. So now you've got that tower in the middle. Now let's draw this top section of the tower. So we'll go up here, that, and then you might like to right in the middle there, where that dot is, just double check that your dot is in the middle of these two lines. So then at the top here, draw a line here, like that, and then we'll go down. And now make those little boxes. And if you get the wrong amount of boxes, you can just, it doesn't matter. Just make sure they're even. Try to mirror it on the other side. And see, I'm leaving little gaps. I'm not trying to draw it in one go. There, we've got the tower in. That's really nice. Go like this, just add a little flag on the top. Nice feature there. So I'm actually going to draw the door, the little gate here, because then we can see where our perspective is. So make a nice wide gate there. Leave a little bit on each side. It's a bit higher than wider, so we come up about there. So let's draw this shape like this, up there, shadow there, so add a little bit of shadow here. So our vanishing point is right in the middle of that door, that gate. So put a dot just in the middle. That's a very important point. We're going to use that a lot in this tutorial. And right now we can use it actually. So we're going to draw this, we're going to draw the road, and see how the road comes to about here. So put a dot there, and the next one is about here, so put a dot here. And now we're aiming towards that dot there. So draw a broken line like this. I can add another one, and then another one here, trying to make it look very interesting, and to this dot as well. But we need to leave a gap here for that bike rider there. So still aiming towards that point like this. Now the sidewalk, so it goes to the corner here and a little bit higher on this side. You can put dots on either side. Still coming towards this, always thinking of that line. And on this side, start a bit further away, but I'm aiming towards this point. So now you can see all aiming towards that one point. We're going to draw the main shapes of each building. It's easier to break it down that way. So on the building on the left, we start at the top corner here, put a dot there. And what you can do is put your other hand that you're not using on that dot. I find that helps me see where that point is. And then I can look at this point, and I'm coming down towards this point here. Between these 2 points, about halfway, you need a bit of space to put the other buildings. So when you're coming down like this, angling towards it, stop about halfway between these 2 points. So I'd say about there. Now we're going to follow that that silhouette of that top line, and you can see little lights along the side. So I'm going to include those. We're going down towards this point here, little lines like that, give it that nice character. Then we're going to a vertical line, and that has a perfect straight line down. So we're going to go down, right down to the sidewalk here, something that interest down to there. Now we draw the next building here. We can also think about that point there, a little bit less than halfway between there, so go back a bit. So let's make some lines like that. And then it's got a very crazy detail here with the rooms coming out with the windows. But when we get into these buildings that are a bit close to the tower, we're not going to draw all the detail. We're going to try and simplify it. So go down, and there's a little where it juts out there. That's the window bits, something else there. I'm not really drawing it in the right spot. I'm just approximating where the outline is. Before we draw the next building, I really like the flag. So we're going to draw this line coming out like that, and then the flag, and the flag comes like this. Now let's draw this next building here behind that flag, and it comes up from that point. Continue to draw them down to this point here, going down like that, and then we'll come in a bit, and let's draw it again. There's another window sill coming out there, and then just dividing those shapes up. Let's draw a little line there, a bit jutting out there like that, and then we can finish it off with a line that comes across about there somewhere. Now we can start on the other side. So we come down here, it's about there. Once again, we're going to go to that vanishing point, and it's halfway between here. So coming down about there, we can do the same thing. Little blips where the lights are stuck to the edge of the roof. It comes back, and then straight down, as straight as you can go. Now the next building, we come down a little bit there, and then we come out. So not quite halfway between here, it's a bit further back. So still aim at this, and about there, and then straight down again. And I'm just making up those nice character. Okay, we come, and this roof here is about there, and it comes all the way past, all the way to this point here. So down there, comes in a bit, and then down. It gives us a space between for that door there. There we go. So now we've broken that scene up. How's yours looking? Okay, now we're going to do some detail on the buildings. And let's start with the figure right in the back here. So I'll draw this little entryway here on the side, like that. And then we can draw him in. So we'll put the head, it should be about where that eye line is there. So put a head, we can make him a little bit bigger. And as long as we put him on the eye line, it should look like he's in proportion. So I'm just drawing in the body here. It should be about 3 heads length, and then we draw the leg coming down like that, back wheel, and something there for the front wheel. It's very simple. Now I've done that, let's start with the tower up here and add some detail. So we're going to add these blocks here, and then this line. So come down a bit here, and it's about where those points of the roof are. And let's draw a line, double line, and then a point in the middle. It's about the same width, height there, and let's draw the width of this. It's about 1/3 of the width of the tower. We put 2 dots there, and then 2 dots here. Now we can draw those lines like this, and then up to that point. Then right in the middle here, let's draw that shape. I don't know what shape you call that. The other shapes here. That, and then come down. So now we're going to draw the clock. So it's a rectangle here, so go down about this far, and here we put a square very lightly, and we're thinking that this is just impressions of the shape. Even this little crest we can do, and then use watercolor to make it stand out. It looks like black swans on the reference, not on my sketch. Something there, and then a little black window, peepee hole, what looks like a sundial, something there, or shield, and that. In the middle here we can also add another circle, more of these little windows, and something here, I can't quite see it, and an outline on the top of this arch. Now let's go on to this building on the left here, and we're going to break down these into different details. So gutter there for the water, and it would come down. Maybe I can actually use this side of the page and then straight down. Make sure when you're drawing these lines here, draw them vertical. Don't start, it's easy to be thinking about this vanishing point and then stop drawing the vertical lines. So let's start with these top windows here. So keeping our finger on the vanishing point and then putting a dot where we think that corner of the window is. Just imagining that line connecting them and then adding in a dot that would be in line towards the vanishing point. We've got our dots, and then we come down vertical. See how high you want it to make it? Perfectly vertical there. And then the next one needs to be in line as well. So I'm aiming towards that point, but that dot there has to be vertical to there. So then this angle is slightly shallower than this. So this is steeper, this top one. And they don't have to be perfect. It's just that general idea that you're aiming towards here. And if you're not thinking about it, it's easy for all your windows to look like they're in a different perspective. So I don't rush this bit. Just take some time. And the same with this one. Thinking about there, aiming there, and then down. I'm changing the detail. These windows are a bit closer, but it's artistic license. That angle there, the same as those windows, but then perfectly vertical there. And then to show a bit more of that perspective, we need to have a lines that aim down towards there. Like that. That just helps show the perspective. Now I'll skip across to this building over here, and let's do the same thing. We'll give this a bit of width. I think on this side, I'm just going to do two windows, one here, one here. So let's do the same sort of thing we have. We have a point here, a corner, and then if I line that up, the next one will be all the way up there. And you wouldn't guess that. If you were trying to put a window on the side of this building, you might draw it more straighter, but see how angled that is. We come down and put another dot there. Lining this one up like this. Very, very angled, steep. Very steep. Okay, so we got that. There we've got a little border around the window. And then we come in. So that angle is angled down a bit like that. And then for the same angle as this top, but straight down. Put a little window in the middle. Little bar in the middle like that. Now I've done those three big surfaces. Let's do the little tiny surfaces here. And some of these are just going to be straight lines instead of actual rectangles. Let's give this roof that thickness and come down. There's a little bit of thickness there. But the same thing, let's add two windows. So we'll put a dot there, but then the next window has to come right up there. Really steep. And coming down and just a little rectangle shape like that. That's all we're going to do there. And the next windows, here and here, they've got shutters on them, so we can add shutters, and windows and a door. There, lots of detail there. From the vanishing point, here and here, and once again, keep those lines vertical. Like that. Those bottom points should line up. Yep. And now we get to some details here. This is very abstract down this way. So just outline some shapes, the tables like that, and some plants. And that is all the line work done for this 1 point perspective. So we're going to move on to the watercolor. I've got my round 12 brush, and if you have watercolor paper, we're going to wet this sky area. But if you don't have watercolor paper, if it's just very thin paper, just skip this step and go straight into where we're drawing the blue sky there. So I'm going to dip my brush in, and we're wetting this paper around the buildings. Now I'm using cerulean blue, and we start at the top. Most of our blue will be at the top and it will blend down. So we'll get right in that corner there, designing and splattering on the sky. We're going to do the tower now, and we're using yellow ochre. We'll add some Payne's Grey. So this is Payne's Grey. Just put a bit here, and I'll add it in, adding a light layer. So starting from the top, as we're going down we add more yellow ochre. It's a bit duller on the top, and then we go around some of these bits so we can add watercolor in them later. We're adding in burnt sienna to add life into it. It's different colors and it brings it to life. Turquoise, so use a bright blue that you have, and then we're mixing in a little bit of viridian green, and then as we go down we'll make it slightly darker around here. So I'm using rose, and we're just roughly blocking out the shade, a bit darker at the bottom. So I'll go ultramarine, a little bit more ultramarine towards the bottom, cadmium red, add cadmium yellow. That we'll do the top, the orange, and then we can add a little bit more cadmium red at the bottom. So I'm making it a bit more lighter like this blue building because the sun is hitting that surface. And then as we come down, we can add that more orangey colour down there. Don't want it to be too saturated here, light colour. Then we get that cadmium red again. And the cafe sign has a bit of red there. Let's try over here. Now we're going to use Payne's Grey. We're just doing the darker areas. Payne's Grey on this door here, the doorways, just in the windows. And then the road here needs just a bit of this Payne's Grey, so make sure it's really watered down, not too much. I like burnt sienna across here, it looks like it's slightly browner. We need to add some brickwork to the tower, so that can be done just in a very impressionistic way by getting a similar colour. So we have the yellow ochre again, just adding little horizontal lines here. It has to be subtle. Okay, shadows, we're going to use ultramarine today, so just coming down like that, and then come down, and we go down like that, just down around the bottom. And in the tops of the window sills, we haven't done any shadows there. So we don't need to add too much highlights here, but I like to put a little bit on the shoulders of the man, and if there's a little bit of lines there that are cutting into him, I might just break that line up. A few little lines here showing the direction of the light, a few little glints off these bricks. So that's my final result from sketching a street in Italy with using 1-point perspective. If you'd like the full tutorial with the reference without any of the cuts, that'll be over on my Patreon. It's the best place to learn because you get the full tutorial, you can put that reference right on the screen, and you get every step in detail and explain it in a bit more in depth. And you can share your work with the community there. They're very supportive and encouraging, and also comment on works and help you if you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.